Hello guys and welcome back to Behind the Dugouts, and thank you for joining me. Now this is going to probably be the toughest test of Chelsea's group in the Club World Cup. Flamengo, South American side, currently sitting top of Serie A in South America at the moment with only one loss. The previous outing against ES Tunis in the Club World Cup saw them have a 2-0 victory. They're going to pose a lot bigger threat than Chelsea's previous opponents, LAFC. But Chelsea have a good opportunity here with the way that Maresca started the tournament, picking the strongest 11, picking up those 3 points. An opportunity now is to take a similar approach to get the 3 points against Flamengo and then rest some of our key players for the latter stages in the round and maybe go with a more youthful sort of / rotated squad against ES Tunis for the last fixture. But it's not going to be plain sailing even if Chelsea do go with a stronger team. Flamengo are a very well equipped tactical team, a lot of flair, which most Brazilian teams do have, and they're going to cause Chelsea a lot of problems if they don't take them seriously, but I fully believe that they will. Another thing that tends to come with the South American teams is that bit of fire. All want to get stuck in and just want to win the ball. And as with any Brazilian team, they have an abundance of flair players that will cause the creative problems that Chelsea's back line will have to deal with. Now for this match preview, we will take a look at the potential predicted starting 11 that Maresca will pick for this fixture. We'll also cover my segment Player Watch, where I will be picking one player from the Chelsea side that I will be excited to watch, as well as one player from the opposition side in Flamengo, who I believe will cause Chelsea some issues. So looking at Flamengo and the potential problems they could cause Chelsea, they're a team that like to play in the opposition's half, doing small short passes, but looking always for the opportunity to play a through ball. It's something that they do very, very often, trying to get their wide players in, using those line-breaking passes through the midfield and through the defensive line. This is something that Chelsea are going to have to be very wary of, especially the midfield pivot. Their wide players are also very important to how their system functions. They lean a little heavily on the left-hand side when attacking, but both wide players are extremely dangerous. And one thing you do get with the South American side is they are riddled with flair, and they're looking at doing these little tricks and taking on players whenever they can. So in their system and how it functions, their wide players are very important. And I suppose one of the biggest compliments that I can give to Flamengo is they finish their dinner. They are very clinical when it comes to converting chances. There's not many that they waste. In the previous outing against Tunis, they had the majority of the ball, around 70% possession, so they are used to keeping the ball and pinning teams back in half. Caveat to all their good play going forward, they are very defensively astute. One of their biggest strengths is defending from set pieces, and generally if they need to and they want to hold on to a lead, they are very tough to break down. Chelsea will surely have their work cut out for them in this fixture. Now, looking at some of Maresca's comments he made before this fixture, talking about the starting 11, he mentioned that looking to make probably 3 to 5 changes for every game. Obviously, it's been quite a long season, still continuing. A lot of the players went on international duty for that 2-week window, so not many of them got a rest. So having that option for him to change a few players each game is going to be important to keep the squad as fresh as possible. But I still think he's going to go quite strong for this fixture. So with that being said, let's take a look at the predicted starting 11 I feel Maresca will go with. In goal, I've gone with Robert Sanchez. He's sort of continued his form from the back end of the season. In the last match versus LAFC, I don't think he made any mistakes, and when he was called upon to make those important saves, he did. there's still question marks in the goalkeeping area. I still think we need to sign a top quality goalkeeper, but for now we have to do with what we've got. And as long as Sanchez can maintain the level that he is performing at the moment, his distribution is getting a lot better. I think one thing that has slightly changed over, I want to say from the Ipswich game where we lost at 2-0, Maresca was pushing sort of the majority of the season that we will always play out from the back. It won't go long. If the keepers decide to go long, they'll be taken out and replaced. And I think after that Ipswich game, where Sanchez particularly got a lot of stick in that game from making the silly mistakes that he did, from trying to play out from the back, Maresca slightly changed it, where if now we need to go long and look for those, out balls, Sanchez is doing that. He's not being forced, or at least from it doesn't look like he's being forced to always play to one of the centre backs or to one of the, the right or left back every single time he has the ball at his feet, which has alleviated a lot of pressure for him and has also taken away the potential mistakes that he can make from playing out of the back when he's under pressure. So I think this is a good positive change, and hopefully they still maintain this going into the further fixtures. The back four, I think this is one of the areas that Maresca will make a change to protect Reece James. So I believe he will take Reece James out and replace him with Malo Gusto, who has still a lot to prove, coming off not a great last season. Didn't think he was particularly good in the match against LAFC when he come on, but this can all change by one game. So I think Gusto will come in. I think Trevor Chalobah will come in for Tosun. I think Levi will stay the same, and I think Cucurella will stay as left back because we didn't bring anybody else and we don't have anybody else. So Cucurella will definitely, Maresca has the option to move Gusto out to the left or James out to the left and have Cucurella on the bench, and you can play Reece James and Gusto as the fullbacks. But I think because they are trying to protect Reece James, and they have done since he's come back, he will be one of the players to come out, and that goes for his compatriot in the midfield. I think Lavia will take a rest in this game and be on the bench, and I think he will bring in Enzo, and he will play Enzo and Moises Caicedo in the pivot. I would like to see Andre Santos come on or start this game. I think to go with the stronger first with Enzo and Caicedo, and then maybe bring Santos on in the 60th minute, maybe at half time, to give Caicedo a bit of rest. And we obviously now have the addition of Dario Asugo, as give some of these players, the likes of Moises Caicedo, a much deserved rest. Going into the three in front of the pivot, I do feel that Palmer and Neto are going to retain their place in this match. The only question mark I have would be whether Noni starts or not. Didn't particularly have a good game against LAFC. The only issue that we do have is we don't have any other left-sided players apart from either playing Noni and Pedro out of position or putting young Tyreek George. I don't think Maresca will go with a Tyreek George. I do feel that he would go with Noni again, give him an opportunity to give a better performance than the last fixture. There could potentially be an option of putting Jackson out there. I just don't think Maresca's going to try this. He didn't at all last season, so I don't think he's going to start now. I know some people like myself have been crying just to give Jackson a chance out on the left side, but I just don't think Maresca is going to do it. So it's going to be interesting how he does decide who's going to play on the left. But I do think he's going to go with the same flat three as they did in the last game. And then moving into the striker, I do feel that Liam Delap should play from the start in this fixture. Come on, contributed well in the previous game by getting that assist for Enzo's goal. Not to say that Jackson didn't have a good game. He did have a good game in the previous outing. But I think just to see what he can offer, give him a few more minutes and give Jackson a bit of rest, let Liam Delap start from the get-go and, let him lead the line. Now, the player I feel who could be quite important in this fixture, a player that I will be watching quite closely, is Enzo Fernandez. He is slowly improving in the goal contribution part of his game, where he's coming up with goals and coming up with assists. Now that he's playing in this deep lying role, but being allowed to advance forward and get involved in the attack. And he is cropping up again. A goal in the last game. He scored quite a few at the back end of the season. And because this is a South American side, and Enzo himself being South American, he is going to be up for this. He's going to be one of those players with that extra fire in his belly, as he will be coming up against a team that will have the same passion, fiery desire that he has every game that he plays. I do feel that the late box runs that he has been making of late are going to be quite important in this fixture, especially if Flamengo do sit back and try and soak up some of the pressure. He will be vital at picking up those dangerous pockets of space on the edge and floating in and around the 6-yard box for the potential cutbacks from the wingers, or as we saw in the last game, Flamengo Delap when breaking into the box, it back up for Enzo himself, who didn't convert in the last match, but I feel if he gets a second chance, he will. Now, a player that I feel is going to cause Chelsea some issues is their central attacking midfielder, Georgian De Asceta. Probably butchered his name, but I gave it a shot. Scored in the last outing against Tunis. A very creative player, as mentioned. They love to play those through balls and have those line splitting passes, and he's one of those players that is always looking to play forward and play those dangerous passes in and behind the defence, and does crop up with the goals. He's not afraid to shoot and put himself in those dangerous positions, allow the opportunity for him to get a shot away. It's going to be a player that is going to need to be watched by the back line and the two in midfield. They do obviously have Jorginho as well, an ex-Chelsea player, and we know he is a dictator. We know he likes to control the speed and the tempo of the game, and he will always be looking to find Jorginho whenever he can. But I have to say, I'm quite excited, man. I want us to win this competition, and you've got a good opportunity against Flamengo to pick up those 3 points, which will guarantee us a spot in the round of 16, and probably will guarantee us winning this group and having a more favourable tie in the round of 16. And so it's looking good at the moment, but it's not going to be a pushover for this match. I need to be up for it and on it from the get-go. So that's all from me, guys. If you like this video, please hit that like button, drop a comment below. Feedback is always appreciated, and I will catch you guys in the next one.